Hey everybody, it's Gomedex, and welcome back to some more Momir's Madness. For those who don't know, Momir's Madness is the format in which everybody shows up with a deck of nothing but basic lands. However, any player can pay X mana, discard one of their cards, and get a completely random creature from the entire game with converted mana cost X onto the field. So say I spend 2 mana, discard a basic, I could get like a Tithe Taker, or I could get a... Why can't I think of 2 mana creatures right now? I could get like a Blood Burglar or something like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of chaos, and let's just see if we can do pretty well. So, the general strategy for the format is to skip the first couple of cards, because at 1 mana and 2 mana, random creatures are overall not really going to have a large impact on the game. Obviously at 1 mana, if you're really lucky, you could get like a Llanowar Elves, and that would be a huge impact. But the vast majority of 1 and 2 mana cards just become useless very quickly in the game. Like, if I spend 1 mana and get a 1/1 with First Strike, and then it goes to my opponent's turn, and they spend 2 mana and get a 2/2, my 1/1 First Strike already does basically nothing. So, it's basically just a waste of a card, because you have to think of it as every single card in your hand is a potential larger creature later if you skip an earlier creature. Like, if I don't discard it at 1 mana, I can discard that card later at like 5 mana and make a bigger creature. So we've got a Dreadshade here, so I think I am going to start playing Swamps just in case I get into a position where my opponent has a creature that's large enough that I want to be pumping it up. For now, I'm just going to hit him and keep playing creatures. The general lands that you play don't matter too much, but I would recommend playing as many mountains as you can if you don't have any activated abilities on your creatures. Obviously, once you start getting activated abilities on your creatures, start playing the lands for abilities you can use. But if you don't have any abilities and you're just going with whatever's random, I would play mountains primarily, because later on at the higher mana costs, there are a few cards that require red mana to do a lot of good stuff, like Shivan Dragon, Cavalier Flames, stuff like that. I feel like red mana just has the most abilities that you'll need the mana for. Of course, as I say that, we get a Biogenic Ooze. So it is still pretty random, like what colors you're going to need. But I've also got into spots where I've had the Dragon Tyrant at a very high mana cost, which requires you to spend 4 red mana in your upkeep or just sacrifice it, and I pretty much won that game because I had the 4 mountains at the ready when I got that card. So this could be just some confirmation bias where, because I got into situations where I needed red mana, I'm trying to save red mana. It could be pretty random, but it's still what I'd recommend overall, just in case. So I probably discarded a forest. No, I didn't. Alright. So I'm actually playing objectively correctly. I got the card that needs forests, and I haven't even discarded any forests this game. So now we're getting to the spot where we're really going to show off what Momir is kind of about. Most of the time, you're going to get into some pretty big board stalls between the players, and any creatures that you get with any kind of evasion, especially flyers and creatures that can't be blocked at all, are going to be extremely powerful. They're just some of the best cards you could possibly luck into in Momir. So, because I have a flyer and my opponent has no flyers, I'm definitely in the advantageous board state here. Biogenic Ooze and Gargos Vicious Watcher also help quite a bit. It's not just the flyer. Those are some large and terrifying cards, and unfortunately their Rubble Belt Recluse will have to attack into my Gargos and just die. Alright. Still don't think I'm saving mana for the Dreadshade. Let's just go for a 7 mana card in case I get anything with haste. We'll do it pre-combat. And we get a 5/7 Reach Spider. Alright. Well, let's send in the flyer. Do we actually just attack with everyone here? I think we just... That was the wrong button. That was the wrong thing to click. So normally it says all attack there, but since I already clicked on a creature, it said just one attack, so that was wrong. I think that was a spot you're supposed to just attack with everybody, because the worst that happens is we lose the biogenic ooze, and our ooze tokens don't keep getting bigger, but we could have gone for a really large swing there, got a lot of damage in. And that's kind of important to do when you have the opportunity to, because you never know, like a turn later, it could just be a bad decision to attack like it is now. Now that they have a Silverclad Ferocidons, I'm less likely to want to attack. So now we're at 8 mana, which is where a lot of really strong cards are. They have added a bunch of cards just from Magic's history for specifically just Momir. So that the higher mana costs are more diverse than they were before. Because if you just have the cards from Standard on Arena, the higher mana costs can get pretty samey. Definitely at 9 mana, there were only 3 9 mana cards before they added more. So you can actually see a bunch of cards that you can't play anywhere else on Arena in Momir at the higher mana costs, which is pretty cool. We'll see if we can get any in this video today. It will probably happen. There's quite a few of them. Torgar, I can heal them for 1 or just target myself for nothing. Alright. They've got 5 blockers, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attackers. I'm just gonna keep hitting their face in the air. See, if we'd gotten that attack in when they just had the 2-2, the 3-3, and the 5-3, they would probably be at a low life total now that I might be able to hit them for lethal like this turn, but since we didn't make that attack, we're not quite there yet. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 attackers. Actually, we are there. We actually are there this turn. Because if they block absolutely everything, they still die, because the lowest damage that they allow through is 5. From the Hatchery Spider or the Dread Shape. So that's actually just exact lethal there. They can't block the flyers, so they're taking 2 no matter what. And then if they blocked all of my biggest creatures, they still let through at least 5 damage for exactly 7 to end that game. So, pretty good luck on the first round. Yeah, I mean, Gargos is just really big for his mana costs, so that was pretty helpful in making sure that we had the ground superiority. And just having 1 card in the air is pretty strong when your opponent has none. So let's head on to the next round here. Opponent might be going for 1-drops, here they are. Soulmender. Definitely not the worst 1-drop. That actually has a little bit of an impact on the game, which is better than some of the cards you can get at 1 mana. So with the Soulmender, like, worst case scenario, they at least get to just keep gaining a life every turn for the rest of this game. Because it's highly unlikely, even if I get a Meteor Golem or something, that I'm going to be killing their 1-1 over something else. So we'll start at 3 here. We get a Vraska's finisher. The text is irrelevant on her. She'll just be a 3-2 Gorgon Assassin to get in there. I really hope that the next time they do this, I don't see why they wouldn't allow this. I would love if we could just bring our own decks. Like, still make it all basic lands, but let everyone, like, choose their own basics, so everyone still has a little bit of their own style in their decks, you know? And it would also be cool for, like, strategy circumstances. Maybe there's, like, a better way than just exact even on all the lands. Like, maybe you want more mountains than the other stuff, maybe you want more forests. Who knows? It would add a little bit to the format, or at least a little bit of style with basic land arts. Not that these land arts are bad. certainly fine, but they're just the regular M20 arts. So I do like our 4-drop quite a bit. It's just a 4-mana 4/4, which is nice stats. However, our opponent did get 4 power for their 4 mana as well, so if we attack in, we're just trading for both the 2/2s, whereas if we block, we take a little bit of damage and we get to eat one of the 2/2s without losing our 4/4, so he's probably just going to sit here and block now. Accidentally clicked on my cat. What do we got at 5? Ooh, Keeper of Fables is a very nice card. That is the other thing that I should say about this format. It has everything that is on Arena, period. So, it also has the Eldraine cards from the Brawl decks, because of the Eldraine Courtside Brawl event. So this is pretty nice, because if we get any kind of flyer or evasive creature now, we also just get to draw an additional card each turn, which is good. Drawing cards in this format basically ramps you up, because every turn you draw 1 card a turn, and then you only get to do 1 Momir per turn. So basically, every turn you draw a card, and then play a land and discard a card. So you're down 2 cards per turn if you want to play a land and play a creature. So card draw is actually still good in this format, because eventually you'll get to the point, as you saw last game, where because you want to play a card every turn, you're not gonna have enough cards to play a land and a creature every turn. You'll have to choose later in the game. And most of the time it ends up with you just spamming 8 drops and not playing any lands. I don't think I'm attacking here. My creatures just aren't large enough to get through the fight unscathed here. I don't really have good attacks, because I want to make sure that I keep the Keeper of Fables. And if I'm not attacking with Keeper of Fables and I just send in this 4/4, it just trades for a 2/2. Or a 3/3, because they can block with the 3/3 and the 2/2, and then I just kill one of them. So don't really have good attacks there, but our opponent doesn't either now. Swathcutter Giant is pretty interesting. It'll do 1 damage to all our creatures when it attacks, so it'll make attacks a little better for them. Don't know if they will attack, though. We'll see. So 6 mana here. What are we going to get? Or 7 mana. What are we going to get? Something good, preferably? Wrecking Beast is not bad. Is it good to give that haste right now? Not really. I'll be trading for a 5/5, because they can double block with the 5/5 and the 3/3. So I guess we're just putting a counter on that, and this game is going to chill for a bit. Definitely one of these games that looks like we're just going to wait and see who gets the best 8 drops. Who gets the best large cards here? Kazarov is fantastic. That is one of the red abilities that you really want to play a lot of mountains for. Yeah, that card is brutal. Yeah, just whenever one of our creatures is dealt damage, period, it doesn't even have to be dealt damage by Kazarov. Kazarov gets a +1/+1 counter, and for 4 mana, Kazarov gets to do 2 damage to any target creature, which means if they want to just skip playing a card next turn, they can just, like, kill one of our 4 toughness creatures and put 2 counters on Kazarov, which, if we don't get anything scary next turn, might be the play just so that they can get as much damage in the air as possible. And Kazarov also just makes, like, chump attacks profitable as well, because having a really big flyer, as I've said before, is really dangerous in Momir. So Kazarov, pretty terrifying card to run up against here. But at 8 mana, there's plenty of terrifying stuff. See if we can get something of our own here. Opponent is holding priority for some reason. Since they have a Soul Mender on the field, they do have to click OK whenever I do anything, which is a little annoying, like, because there might be situations where my opponent is, like, I don't know, grabbing a drink or something, because they're like, well, we're tapped out. I'll just leave the game running and come back when it's my turn. But can't do that with a Soul Mender on board. Opponent, please click OK to my Factory of Momir Vig ability. Well, I mean, worst case scenario, we got an Hourglass off them for free. So here is one of the cards that they've added that clearly is not actually regularly playable in Momir. It's Grizzlebrand. 7/7 flying lifelink, and you can pay 7 life to draw 7 cards. Really strong card. However, it's not actually going to beat their Kazarov, which is concerning. I definitely hope that they just swing in here and we can just trade. Because if not, they've got the mana to use Kazarov twice a turn. So if they wait until their next turn, their Kazarov will be bigger than my Grizzlebrand, and Grizzlebrand will be basically useless. So they are going to use Kazarov to just kill my 4/4. Which makes Kazarov a 6/6. And they could actually just attack with a 2/2 to sacrifice it and make Kazarov a 7/7, or just get 2 damage in on me. Like, that seems fine. Oh wait, the Swath Cutter Giant this whole time! Oh my god, they should have attacked with Kazarov as well. There's no reason not to attack with Kazarov as well in that situation. I'm surprised they didn't attack with Swath Cutter last turn. I completely didn't even realize that combo. Yeah, I think we're kind of just hosed here. I mean, opponent got the 1/2, like, beautiful combo there. However, since they attacked like that, like, we're fine. We still just need to find a removal spell for Kazarov. But, they could have also just dealt 10 to us this turn. But I guess they don't want to take damage of their own, but they do still win that race, I think? Actually, no. 7 power with lifelink is really dangerous. That might have been the best attack, because now I can't attack with Grizzlebrand. And so they know I won't be just, like, racing them hardcore. And raise Forerunners! Wow! Yeah, that's a pretty strong 8-drop. If I swing in here, this Kazarov's gonna be ridiculously big. Like, ridiculously big. And I'm gonna lose Grizzlebrand. So they block like that, right? And then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 toughness. 8 toughness. So that's 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 7 is 14, plus 5. Plus 5 is what? Like 19 damage? This might be the worst attack in the world, but it forces them to have something really good to follow this up. Because they have to lose a lot of their ground creatures. I do lose Grizzlebrand in the sky and then take a lot from Kazarov, but then I'm going to be left with most of my ground creatures, and they're going to be at a really low life total to where, like, I only have to hit them with 1 or 2 of them. And I also get to draw a card from my Keeper of Fables here, which is nice. Alright, so what is this? This is all in the 7/7. That's 7, so it doesn't matter how I order them. So we'll do that. It's going to be a lot of damage. Which also means Kazarov is going to get very large. I'm not going to draw 7 off of Grizzlebrand here because I feel like the higher mana costs aren't really like the difference between 8 mana cards and 9 mana cards is pretty negligible, and I actually think that a lot of the 9 mana cards are just really bad. Like there are some keepers at 9 mana that are like 9 mana for a 5/5 trample, and at the beginning of your upkeep you can pay 2 life to search. There it is. That's literally the one I was talking about. At the beginning of your upkeep, pay 2 life to search your library for any card, shuffle it, put it on top. This card's just terrible at 9 mana. And they're called the Bringers, not the Keepers. I got the name wrong. Yeah, there's a decent amount of cards like that at 9, so I think I might just keep making 8 mana cards. Which, there are some 8 mana duds, but 8 mana duds are still like a 7/7 or an 8/8 or 9/9. So, they have 2 blockers. If I attack with everyone, I deal 3 to them and lose both these creatures. So attacking is bad here. I will make an 8 mana card over a 9 mana card. Scaled Worm. They did add in Scaled Worm, though, which I forgot about, which is probably the biggest 8 mana dud. Because the other ones are just like 7/7s, which is mildly larger. At least my opponent's at 7 life, so 7 power creature is actually relevant when your opponent is at 7 life. Alright, going for another 9 mana card. They got Zakama. Well, we lost. We lost. And Zakama is the reason that they have added a bunch of duds at 9 mana, like the Bringers. Because the old Momir format was always, you would always go for 9 mana cards, because you always had a 33% chance of Zakama, and Zakama's ridiculous, and pretty much unbeatable in this format. Like, 3 mana for 3 damage to a creature is just insane. So I need something that can kill Zakama, like, immediately, which there's nothing at 9 mana that'll do that, but there is Hoverguard Sweepers at 8. At 7, there's Meteor Golem or Agent of Treachery, so we could just go for 7 mana cards or 8 mana cards and just hope to get something that immediately kills that Zakama. Otherwise, our opponent has very much taken over the game. They've got 2 of the best cards in the format, and they are a pretty sick combination, because now Zakama gets to just, like, kill my Scaled Worm, and Kazarov will keep getting bigger while they do that. So this is all around pretty awful. Arranging Raptors. Well, worst case scenario with that, they can shoot their own thing with Zakama to try to get some more land. I'm gonna keep going, trying to get Hoverguard Sweepers here, because it might happen. Wow. Up to 1 player. I'm gonna submit 0 here. I'm gonna say no thanks on that one. Would not like to put them up to 10 life, would not like to put myself down to 10 life either. So yeah, again, I'm not going for 9 mana cards here, because the absolute best thing I could get at 9 mana is Zakama, and Zakama doesn't even really help me here. Because I can't kill anything that matters. Fleshbag Marauder is alright. I guess we're trading our 3/4 for their 2/3? Oh yeah, you can sacrifice the Fleshbag Marauder to itself, never mind. Alright, final chance to get Hoverguard Sweepers, Meteor Golem, Agent of Treachery, Lurking Chupacabra, or Ravenous Chupacabra. So we could go for 4 mana if we want Ravenous Chupacabra, 6 mana if we want Dream Eater. There are so many options, and all of them are relatively like the same chance. So I'm just going to keep going for 8 mana, because if we get Hoverguard Sweepers, that is the best thing we could get to kill, because I could kill Zakama and Kazarov in 1 turn. So Hoverguard Sweepers, let's go! That's a Bedlam Reveler, which does absolutely nothing. So that is, well, I do have a lot of trample damage. I guess we'll send in the attack. Like, maybe they won't notice that we have trample. Like, maybe. It's mildly possible. We're probably just gonna die. So we trample over for 2. We trample over for nothing. So we do 4 damage to them. So we get really close. Which is pretty cool. Let them get their, nah, let's not let them get the basic. Just for the rubbins. Well, not the Rubbins, but just to send a message. The Rubbins would be if we were winning. We are certainly not winning this game. So, our opponent ended this game with 3 life. Very close game overall. But can't really beat the Zakama. Did not manage to get any removal for it. The Kazarov as well. The Kazarov might be mildly more important. But Zakama at the end there did just shred a bunch of our dudes. And put counters on Kazarov faster than Kazarov could do with his own ability. Since Kazarov's ability costs 4 and Zakama's is only 3. Alright, well there's 1 win and 1 loss. That's the exact average. That's about what you'd expect in a in a random format. Flip a bunch of coins, and on average, it'll be 1 heads, 1 tails. 1 heads, 1 tails. Not in that order, but... Alright, heading into the next round here. See if we can maybe get a faster game here, maybe get some early flyers and unblockable creatures and the like. Hold up, my cord almost came unplugged. I gotta go plug that back in. Alright. So opponent is just skipping 3 mana stuff. But we will go for it. District Guide, that's actually a really good card. Any cards that'll get you a land or a or just draw a card, as I've said before, will just help you make sure that you can keep playing a land and a creature for many turns to come. They'll get you into the higher mana costs. Raging Regisar is pretty nice. That's a 4/4 whenever it attacks. They get to do 1 damage to anything. So that's pretty good. Let's see what we get at 4. Jace's Projection. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it, so that could be okay. Secondary ability doesn't do anything, but over the course of this game, that could get decently large. Could be just a good blocker on the ground at the very least. It's not going to be able to attack for a while here, especially since they just got that 5/3 now. It'll have to have more than 5 toughness before I want to attack with it. So, Jace's Projection is probably just going to sit here for a bit. I can double block the Regisar. I don't know if that's for the best here. I guess I get a 5 mana card next turn, and the odds of my 5 mana card not being able to trade with a 5/3 is very low. So I probably just want to stem the bleeding here. Like, yeah, Jace's Projection can get decently large, but that'll take a long time, and by the time Jace's Projection really gets big, just the other creatures we'll get at random for our mana costs will already be basically as big. So he was a 2/2 right there. So on our 5th land, he'd be a 3/3. 6th, he'd be a 4/4. Like, yeah, he was just on average going to be smaller than anything we could just get on that turn anyway. So, a flying hexproof is really good in this format. Ooh. Ooh. I was going to say, it's pretty likely I'm not going to block here, because this is just insanely hard to deal with, and it's a way to make sure to get damage in, but a 5/5 flyer will absolutely deal with that, which means this Soul of the Rapids can't really get in unless we find a way to kill that. So we're going to just trade with the Cabal Monitor and save us from some damage there, as well as killing a card. Well, Gate Creeper Gargoyle. If I'd known I was going to get a 3/3 flyer, I may have not blocked there. That way I could just double block this really big flyer, because the really big flyer is really scary. Lotleth Giant, not as scary, but certainly a decent threat when all I've got on board is the 3/3. Alright, what do we got? 7. Come on. Got a 6/6. Each creature I control deals damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Not super helpful right now, but at the very least it does block that Lotleth Giant and kill it. But we need an answer to this flyer within the next 3 or 4 turns, or we're really doomed. And that is a Tide Spout Tyrant, another one of the older cards they've put in just for Momir. And most of the cards they put in just for Momir don't have abilities that actually work in Momir. They're mainly just in there to be like, well, now you can get an 8-mana 5/5 flyer at random, which is decent. And they just picked cards that were a little bit more iconic, a little bit cooler and more interesting, like artwork and stuff like that, is what they have officially said. Because there was a lot of theorizing about the fact that these cards were in Momir, but they don't actually work. Like, the abilities don't actually work in Momir. A lot of people were theorizing that they're definitely going to be in, like, the historic format and stuff like that, but they have confirmed that is not why they put them in there. It's probably not the case. Because most of these cards would just be bad in historic as well. Like an 8-mana card, you know, like, yeah, I don't think Tide Spout Tyrant's going to get there. I don't think Wolf Pack is going to get there in historic either. Well, this is awful. They got the best 9-drop in the game after getting 2 5/5 flyers. There's just about nothing that'll save us from this. Actually, there's literally nothing that'll save us from this. Even if we hit Hoverguard Sweepers, we get to kill both the flyers. And then they can use Zakama's ability to just kill our Wolf Pack and then attack, trample us over till we're at 1 life. Actually, no, they can trample us over for lethal because they only need to hit Wolf Pack twice. They've got 3 mountains, so they could hit Wolf Pack twice and then Hoverguard Sweepers once. So we just wouldn't have enough toughness to survive Zakama if we just killed both the flyers. I guess, no, Hoverguard Sweeper is a flyer, so I would kill those 2 and save the Sweeper to block a flyer. Yeah, we go for 8 mana, because I was thinking maybe we go for 6 mana, because, like, it's possible that we just need Rakdos to win, because Rakdos can just kill all of the creatures. But no, Hoverguard Sweepers would have been our best out there. Hoverguard Sweepers is just ridiculous. I don't know if I've actually said what Hoverguard Sweeper does, and I've mentioned its name a lot, which is a little bit of a problem, but if you are uninformed, Hoverguard Sweepers is an 8-mana card that is a 5/6 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to return 2 creatures to their owner's hands, which in Momir, since everything is a creature token, you get to straight up destroy any 2 creatures, even creatures with indestructible. Since you're putting them back into their hand, you're not actually saying destroy them. So Hoverguard Sweepers is just insane. So unfortunately, we are just going to lose to Zakama twice in a row. We didn't really lose to Zakama that last game, as they did not even have to activate it once. They just had a couple 5/5 flyers, and we did not have enough stuff to block them in the air. So that is kind of how Momir goes. We've got some gems as a reward. Apparently whatever rare I got was something I already had, but it's certainly a nice reward. And then Flame Sweep as our other random card. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Sorry it wasn't a great record this game, but Momir's Madness is pretty crazy format. You never know what's going to happen. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again very soon with some more Magic Arena content.